Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Azure Dreams Random Toolkit race. Today we have Kluter going up against Hort, and I think what is going to be the last race of the first week. I'm Lady Demi, and with me today is Chai.
Hello, thanks for having me.
And we should be getting ready to count down and see them off.
What
we'll be doing here today is playing Azure Dreams, a mystery dungeon roguelike game for the PlayStation 1, and we will be doing... we were not quite ready yet. Anyway, now I will count them down properly. Horza was doing a small stretch, and I think I missed someone else's comments as a signal of readiness. They were not. They were someone else. They were you, Chai.
Yeah.
Regardless, what we will be doing here today is both runners is a best of 3 match. Each match, the runners will be going as far as they can up the monster tower as fast as they can. They will have 1 hour and 1 entry. And a twist. This is our first really randomized tournament, or more randomized than Azure Dreams is normally randomized, which is to say, pretty random. We will have a random starting familiar with a random starting element and its spell unlocked. And we will have a random starting toolkit. Those first 5 items that are normally part of the tutorial are here sped through and random within their types. We're not leaving them totally equipmentless, but the weapon, shield, spell ball, and egg will all be random.
Seems that there are some small technical difficulties on Kluter's screen, so let's check what's happening there.
Yeah, let us check in on that. In the meanwhile, we will also be getting a look at that starting equipment. I know you checked all of the seeds beforehand to determine them and were telling me a little bit about it. But this time we have a Manoiva, and it looks like it is in its native element of water. That's not a good set of equipment. Not a good set of equipment. There we go. Kluter has now caught back up to reality.
Oh yeah, that's good. Awesome. All right, so as we can see on the screen, our starter monster for this game is going to be Manoiva. It's not a bad monster. Like, if it's just, if you find this monster just in an egg, it's not very good because it doesn't have really anything special. It has some shenanigans that you can use it for, like some glitches, etc. But like as a fighting monster, that Manoiva has not much to offer. But if it's Manoiva in this tournament, it has its hidden spell unlocked. And this spell, if I recall right, is the best healing spell that you can get in the game. So that's not bad.
I've never used it for that purpose. So we will see if either of the runners make use of that, or if they prefer to conserve the Manoiva's MP.
Exactly. But apart from the healing, it also gives you a mixture magic that is the same as you would get if you started with vanilla game where you get the Cuny. It's called sword type mixture magic. It's just that this Manoiva is water element, and thus the mixture magic is also water element.
Yep, and that's a pretty good element. While there are going to be some areas where there might be issues, it is for the most part not going... It's going to keep them at a fairly good advantage against some of the more threatening monsters in the tower.
Oh yeah, there might be a slight problem in the beginning because normally when we start with the fire monster, and all the wind monsters are pretty much not a problem at all. And the first, like, let's say, problematic sort of wind monster that we meet is Cyclone, I think floor 3 or floor 4. And in this case, Cyclone might be actually quite a trouble for them because they have elemental disadvantage against the Cyclone. So let's see how they can handle that.
Yeah, that will be a question, because if they aren't thinking about it, they might end up rushing a bit. They might end up overcommitting on those Cyclones, thinking everything is normal, everything is fine.
Oh, okay. I think his stream caught up.
Maybe? We'll see. Because yeah, the audio is playing and the video from... Okay, now his stream has cut off on my end. And
yeah, okay.
And we'll see if it continues in this weird slideshow format where the gameplay is frozen, but the timer isn't. Which is weird. Either way, I would probably, if I were them, switch to that steel shield. Because as I said before, or the initial weapon and item, the initial weapon and shield that they had is not great. They're the wind elemental wand and the fire elemental shield, and those are, I think, not really the ones you want. While the fire elemental shield isn't the worst, and there are advantages you can get from the wind elemental on the wand, there are enough... what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, the problem here is that, like, basically now they have all of the elements in their inventory. Mixture magic is water, weapon is wind, and the shield is fire. So basically they will always have disadvantage in some level. If they attack water monster, then they will have the advantage from the wind wand, but they will have disadvantage when being attacked, and so on. So that's why this is sort of a very unlucky starting set of items.
Yeah, it's not going to be... It's not the worst outcome. Admittedly, wind is, I think... It's not so bad offensively because there are enough water threats. It's really bad defensively. But still, it's not what you want to see. And the Scorch Shield is going to give them a problem in a couple of floors where everything is water.
That's the thing.
Everything's going to be water. And they're going to hit so hard as a result.
Exactly. With the wind wand and water mixture magic, I would probably quickly just go to the 5th floor as fast as possible, because there I would have the advantage on the offensive side. But now there is this bad side that, okay, the monster there are quite tough. They hit hard, and now they will hit even harder because of having this fire shield.
Mm-hmm. We do know that they have a steel shield, or at least had access to a steel shield. I know Kluter picked it up. I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of floors we see that get put on. It's very strange. It does look like Kluter's stream is working better now. At least that is what it looks like to me, because we are seeing the idle animations play, and we probably should tell him not to stop.
Yeah, definitely. Oh.
Well, this is very strange. I'm not sure how to go about fixing this.
But I'm watching his stream actually, and it goes on and off. So most probably something with the bitrate. Unfortunately, like it's gonna be a little bit tough to watch. But I think Kluter just proceed.
Yeah, I think
It's gonna be tough to commentate.
I think we will just have to figure it out based on what clues we have. And additionally, because these towers are seeded by the randomizer, we do know what items Kluter might have access to and what situations he might be able to overcome or find himself in.
Seems that Horza paused his game. No, he's good now. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I think that was when he was asking to help troubleshoot the problem. Well, but we should just let them proceed because.
And like one very interesting example we can see now on Horza's streams, because he was fighting a flame. Flame is a fire monster, so mixture magic with water has the advantage of it. But he's wearing a wind wand, which gives him disadvantage. And the damage formula for the game works this way: that actually having elemental disadvantage is sort of like twice as bad as having elemental advantage. So let's say, like if we have a factor, if you have elemental advantage, you add damage, let's say by 10. If you have elemental disadvantage, you reduce damage by 20. That's that's the idea here. So.
That makes this whole setup. There's counterproductiveness built in, and so I think equipment is going to be their best hope, because that elemental advantage is some of your best hopes for for dealing damage that is good enough to continue proceeding up the tower. Or the game. Ooh, a leather shield. We see Horza going for a leather shield +2. Now, while that doesn't have as much defense as the steel shield, it does have the advantage of having an increased dodge rate up to about 12%, give or take, since Coke sort of has, like, to use a Fire Emblem term that only existed in like 2 Fire Emblems, kind of a biorhythm thing going on where his luck grows and diminishes based on the turn count over time.
And Lady Dema had a very valid point here that, okay, a leather shield has a lower defense, but the thing is that the defense from the shield actually doesn't reduce the damage that much. Percentage-wise, in the early floors, it's significant. But the higher the runners will go, the less important having a damage reduction from a shield will be, because actually one defense from a shield, it's half HP damage reduction. So let's say that they would be using a diamond shield, which is like the strongest shield that they can find, which has a defense of 7. So that's only 3.5 HP damage reduction in the standard calculation. And when monsters hit you for 60, this 3.5 doesn't really matter that much. So having a higher chance of actually dodging the attack is much, much, much better in the long run.
Yeah, in the long run, this game does not expect you to clear it in a single pass up the tower. It really doesn't expect you to clear it. It expects you to slowly build up bonuses on your equipment like this over time. Horza is demonstrating nicely. Yes, I like to think of when a stream gets choppy like this as vacation slides. Alright, we're now seeing Kluter's visit to the water floors. Those nice green pastures.
you can see another like sort of annoying thing. In this case, it's gonna be good for Horza, but like when you have to face off Manoivas, it's annoying. It has this property that like when being attacked, it has a chance of spawning a minion. That is much weaker than the actual Manoiva, but of course it's another target that monsters have to take care of, and they will. Like for example, instead of attacking you, so that's. A nice thing here. Like Horza is building himself an army of minions.
Yep. Sometimes the navigation can get a little weird when you get that looked like a crack trap, but it might have been in the other very similar effect elevation in the room trap. And that's an interesting one to see. And yeah, we can see Horza taking off his bat and his elemental inventory and going a more secure format.
Yes, this damage reduction from the wind wand will not take like any place anymore. So he's good to like now go to higher floors, specifically like floor 10s plus, which are mainly fire, and that's where he should be still safe because his level is sort of okay now. So it's just a matter of how quickly he will go through next floors, like floor 6 to 9, which are mainly water.
Yeah, this is, I think, one of the situations where there's a big difference. We see him putting that Gulf Wand back on for that bit of an edge, which I think will serve him well here, because other than the last couple of balloons that are only on this floor 6, everything's gonna be water for a while.
Yeah.
And that's meant to push the first-time player out of the tower, back home, possibly in a body bag.
Oh yeah, definitely. Those monsters are tough and they're water, and when you're starting normally, you have a fire monster. So yeah, it's really hard to take care of them.
But here they have a water elemental monster. They have nothing to fear. Also, an egg.
That can be a U-boat egg. What does the U-boat do?
Also, we are seeing one of the things that happens when you randomize the starting monster and unlock their element is that Manoivas now can cast D4, all of them. That is a thing they can all do and are doing very liberally. And you can see where it's causing a bit of trouble because he keeps knocking them down to the threshold where they will heal themselves. He gets past it by using his own Manoiva to attack directly to get it a little weakened before the big hit.
Oh yeah, that can be one of the most annoying things, and runners may forget about it because this is something new in the randomizer. Normally you don't have problems like that. You know the monsters that you are facing, but here every monster can have new spell thanks to the fact that when we are selecting a starting monster and awaken its dormant spell, all the monsters in the tower will have that spell awoken. And you can see that in case of Manoiva, it was especially annoying because Horza was dealing around 23-24 damage. And that's exactly the amount of HP that Manoiva was able to recover with its healing spell. So this could have been a very long fight waiting for the Manoiva to deplete its MP. So yeah, definitely annoying part, and good job on Horza's side that he used AI1 strat where he dealt a little bit more damage to make the Manoiva lose all HP after his mixture magic.
All right. Hey, I'm being told I'm a little bit, I'm guessing quiet rather than silent since I've not been silent and I know you've been hearing me. So I have adjusted my input volume and I'm hoping that will help things. Let me know if that's better. Wait. We did also see that this is a realization that has to go through a couple of times He's back there. Ooh, Aline, that's very nice.
One thing that you can notice already now between the runners, even though Kluter had those technical issues where he was checking different things, pausing, etc., and I think his stream didn't move for like good 5 minutes or 8 minutes, but he was already on floor 7, and Horza reached floor 7 only now. So you can see the difference between the play styles of these two runners. Kluter was more like, I'm just going to the tower. I'm gonna beat it as fast as possible. I'm a torpedo. But Horza was taking his time, doing a little bit safer, slower climb, making sure that like when he reaches those higher floor, he's ready for it.
Yeah, with this game, you're often at the mercy of what you can find, and so one of the best ways to build reliability is to investigate where you can and just hope you find the right items. While sprinting can get you ahead, and that might be useful. It's not always going to help you all that much. It can become detrimental depending on how it goes, and it's hard to say whether or not Kluter's inventory is emptied out by now, or whether it's fuller than ever, because we have no idea.
True that. I was actually very interested to see the play styles of both of these runners. We know that they're both like amazing players. They have really good records on leaderboards. They have like good records of the tournament results, etc., etc. I've never really seen Horza practice for this tournament, so I don't know like what was his idea, how he wants to tackle it. But I did see Kluter practicing, and I was sort of surprised to an extent, because his approach to every game that I watched was like, I'm just gonna like go like a torpedo as fast as possible, and he was able to.
See it.
Oh yeah, now we
can right there. We get a second of updating 4 floors ahead, and presumably still going those floors. Doesn't look like he's in a super great situation, but it should be manageable unless things go bad. Unfortunately, we probably won't really get to check on his inventory. So we'll just have to find out as best we can.
Unfortunately, his stream is still sort of lagging, so it's hard to. So it's hard to say exactly what is happening, but at least we did get a glimpse, and we can see that he's definitely ahead of Horza. So,
yep.
You know that.
If it comes down to who makes it to the very top first, unless there is some dramatic reversal we can catch, we might end up seeing that it comes to Kluter. It does look that Horza, his Manaweva did run out of MP pretty quickly compared to, say, a Kuhn, who is just... The best thing about Kuhn is his MP.
And additionally, I think I've seen Horza using Manoeva's spell, healing spell, which I mentioned is really good, but it's also quite costly. I think it costs like 8 or even 16 MP, so you cannot go trigger happy with it, definitely. Yeah, it seems like before it's 16 MP. So, and Manoeva doesn't have any special trait. Oh, we get the confirmation from Kluter that he died on floor 13. So at this moment,
I doubt that Griffin did it, but who knows what might have happened just beyond. I mean, we kind of... Okay, yeah. Now, Horza does know...
Now Horza knows. Normally our runners are not able to see each other's streams, so they don't know like how fast they have to go. Are they behind or not? So even though Kluter died on 13, Horza, to win this round, he needs to get to floor 14. So Horza, not knowing about it, he needs to do whatever he can to get there. Once he reaches floor 14, we'll tell Horza that he won the round. But let's see how he handles the current situation, because like we discussed earlier, normally wind monsters are not a problem when you play with the Cuny and does fire element. But in this case, when he's got water mixture magic, this wind element clown suddenly becomes a little bit of a problem.
I'm seeing comments to Earthquake to floor 14. That's unlikely to work within the time limit. Azure Dream does have an anti-turtling or an anti-grinding mechanism. Besides just that your monster has limited MP, it has earthquakes that will eventually just destroy the floor underneath you and send you on up. So there is such a thing as earthquake percent.
Yeah, for those who never played this game is actually sort of, I want to believe that it's sort of well balanced and doesn't let you fully just cheese through the game. So there are some mechanics that, for example, would prevent you from staying on a single floor indefinitely and getting all the levels you need so that you can handle the next floor. No, there is certain amount of turns that you can take on the floor, and then everything collapses and automatically it pushes you to the next floor. It takes a while. Probably in a run we will never see it, because of course our runners want to get there as fast as possible.
And we're midway through this match. I think to only earthquake up to floor 14, it would have to take a while. We might not see that happen until after the end of the match.
Horza just hit a very unlucky confusion trap that makes him not be able to go or attack in a direction that he wants, in sort of a random direction. And we've seen a monster coming, so that was a little bit tough situation. But luckily his confusion recovered before the monster actually fully came next to him. So Horza should have no problem dealing with this Griffin, because it's fire monster. And as you can see, it's 29 damage, 2 hits should take care of it.
All right, I have a question. We have a question in chat. What is the random toolkit item category? And that is the starting monster you get at the beginning of the game is randomized and Spellum is unlocked. That's how Horza has that Mana Weavo with mixture magic, which you normally wouldn't see if you just hatched a Mana Weave in the tower. It wouldn't have that. You also get a random weapon, a random shield, a random egg, a random spell ball, and a medicinal herb, as per usual.
And one thing to mention, this is not really a category that our speedrunners compete in on the leaderboard, at least not yet. But this is just selection of rules for this tournament to make it a little bit more interesting, because we already had quite many tournaments with, let's say, sort of standard rule set where most of the elements were sort of like in the vanilla game. So just spice it up and make it a little bit more random.
Yep. Also, it looks like that is a
clown
egg, and that's pretty good. Right.
Oh,
the first
that's
egg is
really
random. No, I think I meant that it's a unique situation, and we do see sometimes you get something that's more or less vanilla, something that's vanilla but easier, and then sometimes you get weird stuff that you wouldn't normally see. And I think there'll be some interesting examples, maybe even in this tournament, of things that are easier than normal, harder than normal, weirder than normal.
That's the thing, that it's not just that some things are easier, some things are harder, which is of course the case. But the thing is, do you know which things are harder, which things are easier? Because normally when you play this game, you may not even learn about all those things, all those elements, all those spells that the game offers. So it might require quite much practice to learn about everything that different monsters can give you. And I think apart from having a luck, this will be a good test of a knowledge of the games for our runners.
Yeah, that is, and it will be difficult to necessarily learn all of them exactly because this game is full of weird little corners it never expresses to you in any way. Certain monsters have different AI than normal for reasons which seem to be very arbitrary and weird. Or functional and weird. You commented earlier that the game was well balanced. I'm not entirely sure I agree with that statement. But I will say that I think it was made
it has a difficulty spike. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Because this difficulty spikes go up pretty fast. But I would say that maybe well balanced is sort of overstatement. But I would say it's nicely thought through.
Balance. Let's put it that way.
There are ways in which you can make this balance a little bit more to your advantage because you've got tools.
Yeah, that is a thing. If you know the little tricks of the game, situations can become easier or harder based on luck. There's always going to be a luck.
Oh yeah, even if you know everything about the game and you think every situation through perfectly, there can be a very unlucky trap that can kill your run so easily. Because even if you have inventory, plenty of spell balls that can kill every single monster, if you step on a paralysis trap and be paralyzed for 10 turns while having a monster around you, you cannot do anything. It can just kill you. That's when you just hope that RNG will help you.
Yep, it looks like Urza is just trying to walk out of that room, so maybe some of the Dreamins de-aggro or are forced into that doorway.
Oh,
that's not great.
Yeah, this is one of the things that having this random starting monster and random element can bring. Normally, Dreamins are anything but just a little bit annoying, right? We've got one of our runners in the community who has this saying, it's just a Dreamin, it cannot do anything. And usually it cannot, because you've got a fire monster, you can easily kill it. Dreamin is win. But now that you've got water monster and Dreamin having this annoying ability of being able to put sleep on you or your familiar, that's gonna be tough to handle, especially when you've got 3 Dreamins to fight with.
Right. I think their one saving grace in a circumstance like this, where you are using a water monster, and so you might have a little bit of a harder time killing them, is that they don't deal a whole lot of direct damage, because they make you easy prey. It's almost like a weird form of, you can almost imagine monster evolution happening. And it is like some sort of ambush spider of monsters.
Just a moment. Go ahead.
Stream one. That's nice.
Oh, stream one for the win. So we discussed already that having a wand with certain element can give you advantage or disadvantage. But there is one more thing in this game, that if you have a sword mixture magic and you have a matching elemental wand, your mixture magic damage goes even higher. So I'm pretty sure Horza sooner or later will switch to that stream wand to elevate his damage to nicer levels, where he should be able to handle even one of the most annoying monster in the tower, Krakens, which he is seeing in these floors.
Yep. Now, he is on floor 13. This is the last floor he has to go through. And we'll see if we can guess what might have happened with Kluter there. Or if we see a situation like it. Or at least, if we see a deadly situation arising and see if it makes a difference. Also, nice. That would be a great item if you didn't only have to go one floor, but Horza probably doesn't know that yet. And he might not have been looking at chat where this was expressed as to some extent.
I presume because you can see that Horza is extremely careful with his movements. Because normally like 30 minutes floor 13, in the race, that might be sort of slow pace. But the thing is that Horza doesn't need to like do a fast pace. He has 27 minutes to beat this floor. So all the time in the world.
He could earthquake percent if he found the right spot for it.
Yes.
We are not recommending that, but it's a thing he could theoretically do.
But of course, even if Horza does end up winning this game, that's not over. This is best of 3. So we will have game 2 with completely new set of starting items, familiars, and new random tower to give us pleasure to watch. So let's...
These matches, even if with a seeded tower, things are a little bit more predictable, or at least a little bit more equal. And with these starting kits, I think sometimes things are a little bit more secure.
And there we go.
Yep.
GG Horza. I'm gonna inform our runners.
Yep. So that means that we will be resetting for round 2 in just a moment.
I think Horza didn't really read that Discord because he's still going. So he was not aware that Kluter reached floor 13, which is very interesting because then it shows us that Horza is playing extremely careful game. I wonder whether it's the strategy because he knows Kluter's playstyle, or whether it's simply that's going to be his playstyle for the tournament.
It might be, particularly because, as you said, Ed, we haven't seen him do a whole lot of practice for this specifically, and so that might be a compensation on top of a regular playstyle. Let's see now. Yep. Okay. Just checking the seed. What seed is the next seed?
Yes, we will soon be back with this match.
And now it looks like Horza has gotten the message. Things have come to a pause. Us here as we get ready for the next round. So, so it does look like the stream problem is, if not fixed, then at least dramatically alleviated. And so we should see that work out much better than before. Yeah, Horza is a slow and steady player, to begin with, and that's not a bad strategy. Like, it does make the hour constraint sometimes a bit difficult, and our tiebreaker about who gets on a floor first can be a bit of a challenge. On the other hand, being able to make it past curveballs consistently is not a path without victory in it. It's something that we can see work out really well.
In the meantime, while we're still waiting for the game, chat can make the predictions what kind of starting monster and element we will have. Let's see who's right.
Yeah. Chaitul has been checking all of the seeds for a monster that can be a little bit game breaking when it's in a strange elemental state, the Haikun that you get at the end of the game. So we already know what the situation
Fire balloon.
is.
Guy in an egg. Shoni has a very interesting guess. I somehow feel, Shoni, that you'll be wrong. I cannot be 100% sure, but who knows?
Water cyclone would be interesting.
Fire balloon.
I think water cyclone would be interesting, especially depending on what would be in the egg, hypothetically. In the meanwhile, no, I think fire balloon is just sort of vanilla balloon, isn't it?
Fire balloon is vanilla.
Admittedly, having a spell makes it not vanilla balloon. Oh goodness, I am just.
Shoni, who told you about guy in an egg? That's some good source.
But when you throw it and it makes an egg bomb, is that guy's ghost in an egg?
You have to tell us more, Shoni. How does it work?
Well, you see, his uncle at... Oh, goodness. What is the publisher of this? Well, anyway, his uncle at somewhere where told him all about it. And also that you used to be able... That in a different version of the game, you could go into Gauch's room. I'm sure.
I presume Kluter is ready too. Horst already mentioned that he's ready. Okay, then let's start the countdown. Our runners should be starting pretty much soon, and let's see whether your predictions are going to be right.
Yep. One thing, I was joking a little bit earlier about various rumors and myths that surrounded the game earlier in its history. This did come out just around the turn of the millennium. And so you have that certain early game FAQs rumor mongering where no one can really check anything at all. And so it's just sort of, I heard about this, I heard about that. And we all just sort of took it as true, particularly because it's not like this game had a huge following. I think it's always been a little bit of a cult game. Not as much as it is now, 2 years after we started this community.
So we get an Arachne as a starting monster. I didn't see that in the chat, so for those who don't know, it's only like the best monster in my own opinion, like at least the safest to like clear the game, because it has an amazing trait of having double attack. So giving it like sufficient level, it should be able to pretty much one-shot every single monster in the tower. So let's see how our runners will be able to handle it. By the way, Shoni, amazing explanation. I totally dig it. It totally makes sense. I believe it.
Absolutely. You know what's funny though is that really the rumors from days of yore, we are seeing Kluter hatch this egg. We will see what it does.
And we've seen one very interesting thing about this egg is that like it doesn't have a name. When the egg doesn't have a name, we know that it's an egg of an evolved monster. So when it's an egg of the evolved monster, we know that this monster will have a spell. We don't know what monster it will be, but we know that it's an evolved monster.
Being an Ashra, the evolved form of an Arachne is possible and would be funny. We do see that the monster is attached on either side. I know that some people will do that reflexively, that determine a game before.
I think many of the runners do the egg hatching, because we've seen it, for example, in one of the Ravens match, that you can get a Garuda in a starting egg, and you don't want to miss out on the Garuda, right? So you always have to check. But when you know that this egg is an evolved monster, the thing is like, what better can you hope for than Arachne? So do you really want to like hatch the egg? Why not use the egg as, for example, I don't know, MP recovery, etc., etc. So I think this is what our runners are thinking about.
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe you hatch it later in case it is something you would like to fuse or you would like to give that trait, but not right away. Exactly. A metal fusion, for example, says, I would say maybe a dragon, that's an evolved monster. And then you could hypothetically have a coin-operated double attack monster.
I like Skeptic's idea, because like if you get that, it's not mentioned directly, but metal has an amazing trait of having double defense. So basically, nothing in the tower can hurt you. So if you've got a monster that like hits like a truck because it kills everything in 1, maybe 2 hits, and also has a trait that basically makes it invincible because nothing can touch it, then you've got a machine to kill.
The ultimate tank, basically.
Exactly.
You just have to stand behind it and keep feeding it fruits.
Yes. And we can see already small difference between the runners. Kluter being, I think, his usual self with the strategy of just going fast, finding the elevator. And Horza slowly exploring, trying to get all the items, making sure that he's prepared to go to the higher floors. Because even though Arachne is really, really good monster, in the beginning, it's sort of low HP, so just trying to force yourself to go to higher floors so that Arachne would fight for you might not end up well, because...
Now,
go ahead.
There is something that is very different about starting with an Arachne or raising one from scratch versus hatching one at a higher level. Well, as you might normally do if you're doing an any percent run, and that is that, if I'm not mistaken, Arachne doesn't gain its double attack naturally. By which I mean, it gains 1 point of attack and gains 2 points of max attack.
So
you can see that red number right there, that it has a reduced attack from its natural maximum when you open up the menu, and that can be cured by a Hazak, or I think probably also a cure-all herb
or water crystal.
Water crystal, and you're going to have to hope to have one of them, or you're going to have to wait until you do to start the Arachne death train.
That is very correct. Without Hazak, even though Arachne is still like very good and powerful monster, it's not gonna be as good. We will probably see it, because I'm sure our runners are aware of it. That when they find the Hazak herb or cure-all herb or water crystal, they will not recover the Arachne's attack power immediately. They'll wait until the Arachne is around probably level 20 or something like this, and then they will recover it. And suddenly, like, the attack power from 40 will become 80, or from 60 will become 120, and then it becomes the killer machine.
Yep, I'm not sure they would wait that long. In a lot of these, we don't see them getting that much and that many levels naturally. I think you normally stop seeing them really gain EXP around level 12 or 13 or so, unless they're using an Arachne for its death machine capacity. So if you're waiting for level 20, you might hit a catch 22.
Yeah, it might be too late, level 20. And also, Shoni made a very good point that basically when you use the Arachne for fighting directly, it uses more MP than when you use any familiar for mixture magic, because mixture magic from Arachne costs half MP, direct attack costs 1 MP. And Arachne doesn't have any easy way to recover MP other than the standard way, which would be feeding it pita fruit or feeding it an egg. That's why, for example, having a dragon as a monster that you would fuse it into would make it so that you can recover MP with coins, and then you don't have to really worry about MP at all.
Yeah, now we do see what the egg is from Horza. We see that it is a saber egg. That can be pretty good. If I'm not mistaken, the mixture magic there is one of the better mixture magics. But at the same time, is it better than an Arachne? Not really. It's certainly a possible familiar and a good one, but you're to use.
I think like Arachne and Snowman or Saber, which is an evolution of Arachne, they actually share exactly the same mixture magic, which by default with the water element is Aqua Blade. What it does, as we can see, is basically gives you an additional attack of water element that is not too powerful, but if you change it to wind, then it gives you 100% paralysis. So it might be possible that Horza would be searching for a wind seed to change his saber into wind, and had this sort of easy way out of the problems, or like a way to help his problem, because it's not always super easy to get out when you're using this 100% paralysis. It has its weaknesses, but yeah, it's always good to have it in your arsenal.
Yeah, that is a thing he can think about with that awareness, but it's probably not that big a deal unless something happens to the Arachne.
Exactly. And for certain floors, it might be better to use this wind seed instead of using it on Saber to get this 100% paralysis. It might be still better to give it to Arachne so that it would get elemental advantage over water monsters, right? And then still Arachne would have this 100% paralysis because its mixture magic would change. So it's all the strategy. We'll see how our runners decide how to tackle the tower.
Yeah, that is a good point. Now, someone is pointing out that you could make a fun combo out of the Saber's break obstacle move, which we did learn the other night from someone in chat. That is an attack with 2.5 damage, and mixing that with double bone attack would make it really strong. On the other hand, yeah, Kluter does seem to be good on in the stream effect. On the other hand, that is a bit of a time loss from all of the hatching and fusing, etc. And you couldn't lift the Saber, but you can lift the Arachne, and that does give you an edge for certain situations. Particularly ones where what you want to be doing is running for the hills.
At this moment, we can see that Kluter is in the lead. He's on floor 8. Horza is slowly and steadily climbing, currently being on floor 6. So maybe let's try to switch audio to Kluter. And Kluter is already floor 9. And you can see he doesn't think much. He just sees the elevator, he goes further.
I wouldn't say he doesn't think much, but he doesn't.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's not going to pass up the opportunity to keep going if he has it in front of him. You can see that I think he's trying to figure out what hits he has to take to get to the elevator and which he does not, and does he want to wait or does he want to search?
Exactly. His Arachne is now level 6, I presume. That is still a little bit low for this level. So at this point, we are on mostly fire floors. So that might be a good place to level up. His Arachne is water element. So let's see.
Yeah. The cropping is a little off because part of the fix for this was adjusting Kluter's resolution, and that hasn't gotten recropped just yet. We'll try and see about fixing that between this match and if it goes to another game. Or if there's a friendly third. Either of those would work out really nicely. Whistling his possibilities. And it looks like the egg is a dream, and that is disappointing.
That is not very exciting at all.
It really isn't. Once you have to worry about abilities that are annoying for you, aren't super exciting when you have them.
Yes, but there is a very valid point from Skiff, and I wanted to mention it too. When we are fusing the monsters, the resulting monster may change the element, and the element of the resulting monster will be always the element that is stronger. So if you fuse water and wind is stronger than water, the resulting monster will be wind. So fusions, even though this dreaming is not very exciting, the fusions can still be used for changing the element.
Yeah, that is a good point there. We saw Kluter trying to outsmart the Griffin by using Daemir's ability to reflect its magic spell, but it didn't cast the spell while it was alive, so that plan didn't end up going anywhere, unfortunately, and it just burned a lot of MP. And he didn't even run into another Griffin. That's gotta sting a little bit, right? You think to yourself, oh, I figured out a use for this monster's spell that I don't normally get to. Ha ha ha! And then it doesn't end up paying off in any way, and it's just a little bit sad.
Yes, especially that, like we mentioned earlier, Arachne doesn't have Garuda Egg. Garuda Egg! Now we've got a game! Let's see what Kluter is about to do. So the thing is, like we mentioned, Arachne doesn't have an easy way to recover MP. So using 8 MP on the mirror, it costs a lot. But let's see, Kluter probably will now go a little bit different way with his game, like plan with killing everything with the Spidey here. Might be a little bit outdated. Now we'll probably see go fast game. Even faster than what Kluter is doing now.
This is a generous monster seed. You get the 2 best game-beating monsters that there are.
I have to admit, Lady Demon, you were very generous to our runners today.
I seem to. There's also even a diamond shield that Horza has, and I feel very sad about that.
Oh, I presume that Kluter didn't want to use the go up trap or the elevator to go to the next floor, because this is floor 12, and in the floor 12 we may find a blue color. What blue color does? It allows us to fuse monsters, and I'm pretty sure that Kluter wants to have that option simply.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he would do with this option in a world where he has Garuda.
It's a tournament. You're not just trying to beat the tower as fast as possible, even though technically that's the goal. But your goal is to win against your opponent. So maybe he just wants to have options.
Yeah, you can never fault an option. You can never fault having more tools in your toolkit. But that doesn't mean I can't speculate on what he will do with it once he has it, assuming all goes well.
So let's see what Kluter will do about this Kraken coming up here.
Yeah, that's that. Okay, so he's going to restore MP first.
Okay, but I think, yes, that's the problem. Whenever you're doing an action with just Co, your familiar will be more than happy to set himself in the lineup that you ask him to be. So because lineup for Kluter was, okay, behind me. So the Spidey went behind Kluter, and that's where it was hit by the Kraken. So you have to be very careful with. And now we can see blue color. I think Kluter will just now go straight to the elevator. He knows where it is. Or the go-up trap. He's got an option. He still needs to handle.
Going for the pickup on the Dreamin', it's not going well. And that puts him in a bit of a rough spot. Because now he needs to find the right sort of space to put that Dreamin' down and get away from Griffin in whichever order that is. And it's okay. He manages to successfully avoid the Kraken.
Oh, that is some smart. Just some smart movement on Kluter's side, because this Kraken was aggro. When enemy is aggro on you, it will just try to get to you in the straight line. It doesn't matter whether there is a path via that straight line or not, but it will just try to do it. So we could see, that the Griffin was on the other side of the walkway, and there was space between them. And Griffin tried to just go in the straight line because it couldn't. It was just walking back and forth. So Kluter had a chance to run away. But now Kluter is.
Now we see that saber come and gone, used as an egg bomb.
Oh, that was a good use. He was in a pickle.
Yeah. You don't want to regret it, and I think that was probably the best use. They are stacked for monster options here.
Well, resources are no good to you if you are dead. So, Yep, definitely. That was a tough situation, and that was also a way out. So.
And there goes the Arachne. So, Garuda time?
I presume so.
He doesn't really have much else going for him that's better, but oh goodness, that's not. That would be a room that would at least be prohibitive to activating Garuda time. I
think Kluter will just take a hit here, yes, and go to the next floor, hoping for some safe time where he is able to catch his Garuda, and then we will see go fast. And that's exactly what is happening now, right? Yes.
Yep. He is just going to try and start hatching it in this hallway. I don't think he's going to be able to, and I worry about what might come from that room if that troll wakes up, because then he'll be in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, he will be pincered from both sides, and what can he do then? But it seems that monsters are generous to Kluter. They let him hatch the Garuda, and let's see.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too much longer now, assuming nothing comes to break up the day. I think, for one thing, he is probably hoping for the thing that hallway he can see will let him know if anything's coming. It didn't tell him anything was coming and nothing came, so this all worked out perfectly, regardless of whether or not it should have.
Okay, and now we've got a game. Now it's interesting.
Okay, he is getting its spell onto the Garuda. He is making the Garuda sleep-proof, so that there's one less thing that could interrupt him and Garuda's wild adventure.
And a good thing about this spell is, down is one of my favorite spells in the game because it's ranged. You can attack anything from 6 or 8 tiles away, but I don't think that Kluter will be using it that much because unfortunately the spell level is a little bit low to actually do any real damage. But it's an option, so let's see what kind of gameplay will Kluter show us.
Yep, and we have seen some good demonstrations right now of what Azure Dreams is like with Garuda, which is a completely different game in which you powerfully
Yep, it's
for
pretty
fun
much
and profit.
run until you hit something. When you hit something, abduct yourself away and hope that you show up in a position where there is no monsters next to you. Because unfortunately, that's the bad side of the Garuda. Or like, of course, it has to have a weakness. Otherwise, it would be too OP, even though it is OP. Is that like after you abduct yourself and land up in the new position, monsters still take a turn. So if you land right next to another monster, that monster will immediately attack you and can kill either you or the Garuda, especially right now with this low level that Kluter is. So this strategy is very powerful, it's very fast, but also very dangerous.
Yeah, we see him kind of using abduct there when I don't think he needed to. While it is much cheaper than you would expect, like something of this power to be, most monster abilities are really expensive. This is really, really cheap. And so he can do this a lot. But that doesn't mean that, like, walking with his feet is valueless.
Now Kluter has done something even more dangerous, as taught to us by Sen Knight recently. The thing is that when you actually use a code turn while abducting yourself, the monsters don't take one turn after that. They actually get to have 2 turns. So that's very scary. You have to be very, very careful. That's why it's usually better to just abduct yourself and skip a turn.
Yeah, if you don't do anything and issue your command, your monster then goes next in the turn order. Everything goes pretty swimmingly from that. But turn order gets weird in Azure, and the rules are a little bit arcane.
And now we have the problem. You could see that Kluter was transported to a place right next to a monster. Luckily for Kluter, that monster was sleeping. It immediately woke up, but luckily Kluter didn't get a hit, because if it did get hit, that Garuda would have been dead.
It looks like he was trying to fight the troll, because it is just a little club troll. It's not a scary troll. But as it turns out, with a wind monster backing you and using a wand, it's a little scary.
And now we see on Horza's stream that he found an egg, which we know now that is a Garuda egg. Let's see whether Horza will try to check that egg.
I think on these floors, you have to check that egg, because what if it's a Garuda?
Exactly. The chance, even though it's not like very high, like compared to like all the monsters that you can find on this floor, there is a chance, and you have to like assume that chance of having the Garuda is the same for your opponent. And if it is a Garuda and your opponent did check it, then you are at a clear disadvantage.
Yep, and that does seem to be the situation we might have going on here. And so Horza's hope, and I think the hope of any slow and steady player when paired with a more aggressive player in a match like this, the hope is that they... Okay, then.
Oh, okay, Scorch Shield is not bad, because we could see on Kluter's stream that Picket, one of the most annoying monster and at the same time the favorite monster of our very own Shoni here, stole a very valuable ball from Kluter, and that was the blinder ball. And then we could see another steal working. Luckily this time it was just a Scorch Shield, not a big loss to Kluter, so that's okay. In the meantime, Horza is doing his steady climb, which is not bad at all, because like we mentioned, Garuda is a very powerful strategy, but also very dangerous. So should Kluter die to any, let's say, unlucky spawn, he'll be in a very tight position, because he's so under level, doesn't have much inventory, And Horza still has his Arachne, which is getting more and more powerful.
Yeah. Well, I think that is generally the hope of any time you have a slow and steady runner versus a more aggressive runner. The slow and steady runner wants something bad to happen, some stroke that they are unprepared for to knock them out and then to out-survive them. And I think in a way, this match has crystallized into the perfect form of this division, in that we have Kluter with the ultimate go fast. Oh, and there we go.
Oh, misstep, and that's where it ends. Floor 20. Before Kluter died to a little bit of a misstep, we could see how underleveled he was, because he attacked a unicorn, which is a wind element, with a fireball. Normally, fireball wipes out all the winter monsters out of existence. But in this case, because he was so underleveled, it didn't die, and he had to use it a second time, and that's also get a hit. So that made his HP lower, and then died to a
Viper. Just Viper. being there, not quite reacting in the way one would hope for. And so we actually see the ideal situation. We see that crystallized version of the division between a slow and steady runner and a more aggressive runner.
And one more thing that we can probably mention here is that our runner here, Horza, he goes by the nickname of a mayor of the Viper Town. So maybe he had something to do with Kluter getting this unlucky Viper here.
Maybe he's working with the Viper Mafia.
Who knows? But now we know there is 29 minutes into this match, 31 minutes left. Horza needs to climb 6 floors to get this second game, and also a match at that point. But let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think there is, at this point, very little that could stop him. He is well stocked. That Arachne can go on for quite some time. He has eggs, he can feed it. He's in good shape and can continue to be in good shape for quite a while.
Unless there is unlucky trap.
Unless there is an unlucky trap, but it would have to be a much more unlucky trap than it would be for a runner who's in less good circumstances. It does look like his Arachne is running. He is going to have to refill it soon. Just going to feed him the dream and egg. That is a very good decision. Definitely, because Horza doesn't have any more pita fruits. The dreaming egg doesn't really do him any good, apart from maybe changing element back to wind if he chose. Now Horza knows that is a Garuda egg. Let's see what he's gonna do with it. Right. Does he keep up this pace, which has it? It is a literal tortoise and the hare sort of thing. It is, as I was saying, the crystallization of this division in which you have one runner immediately taking to the literal fastest option in the game. And Horza, I suspect maybe even he's still going to stick with the sturdy and reliable Arachne. You just about through anything. It's really fun to see, and it's he is going to foil the metaphor just slightly. Yeah, I actually really love Horza's playstyle. You know, that this is also my playstyle. I prefer safe play so that I can sort of assure to go as far or as high as possible. So I do really enjoy it. But I do understand also that Kluter's playstyle is amazing in that sense that it many times wins the matches. So yeah. Right. It's not a matter of more or less optimal.
Exactly.
In like a really pure sense of things. It's just a matter of how the match plays out in the specific. Septic is pointing out that Horza does seem to be cautious than usual, and I do think that it might be a response to the random toolkit, to working with a monster he might not be as familiar with working with from level 1 with mixture magic. He might not be as familiar with. That might cause him to get just a little bit of
And
extra
Horza
caution.
to Garuda.
Mhm.
So probably forget the safe strats. Let's go fast.
Right. He still has that Arachne if something bad happens, though. Oh, that's only if something bad happens to the Garuda.
Exactly. And there are still, like, even if you have the Garuda, there may be different play styles, because certain runners prefer to just abduct until you are next to the elevator and just go for it. We can see that Horza here is not abducting, because I presume he understands the risk that come with the abduct. So he just prefers to run around, and he will probably abduct himself only when he is in a pickle.
Right. I think it's the risk that comes with abduct. I also think it's the MP cost. He doesn't have any egg. He doesn't have any pita fruits. While abduct is cheap, it's not free. Oh, that was an interesting decision of how to approach that room.
Okay, that has to be like a careful movement, because that troll. Okay, abduct. You don't have to be careful when you have abduct. Sorry.
Right, you only have to be a little careful, but
Yes.
you don't have to be very careful. But yeah, Kluter was playing very well. That is a part of the tournament. That's a part of Azure Dreams. Sometimes the tower decides to be cruel.
And we can.
And sometimes,
Nice.
times when your nerves are frayed, you make a misstep. That is just how it is.
And we can see Horza also picking up another flame ball, which is really, really good. Because now we are sort of reaching the floors where there will be quite many wind monsters that can many times die from 1, maybe max 2 balls, in this case 1. And they give quite much experience. So should Horza need to level up a bit, there is an option. He doesn't always have to just run away with an abduct.
Right. He does still have a pretty good inventory. Really, I think at this point... Oh, another egg that is probably going to become food for the Garuda eventually. Well, it's probably not going to become anything. Garuda will probably have the MP to last him to... Was it 21?
I think there is like plenty of the abducts, because it looks like it costs only like half an MP, and Garuda has 8 MP, so that's gonna last quite
revolutionary
long.
moment in how Garuda has changed the game was the moment in which we all learned that Garuda's abduct isn't expensive. It's very cheap.
Oh yeah, and you can just abduct away. Be trigger happy with it, and hope that you spawn in a good location.
By the way, one little thing to note as we go through, yeah, this game is a randomizer. It is a mystery dungeon game. And for the most part, except for those starting monsters, the rest of the game, and, the starting equipment. But the starting equipment isn't changed from what items of those type would normally be. So really, once you're on floor 2, other than the monsters of the same type as your starting monster, it's all the same.
Now Horza is on the same floor that Kluter died at, and we've seen the elevator on a speed. So if Horza is able to make it, that's gonna be game and match, and it seems to be the case. Let's check.
I believe that is so. I believe that.
Let's check whether our runners want to have friendly third.
And so, with that, Kluter will be sent down into the monsters bracket, and we will see whether he can survive his way back up to the top. Oh, that's good.
Okay, seems
that'll be fun.
We've got Kluter in for the third game, and we do want to see it. Chat, start guessing what kind of monster is going to be there, and I'm telling you, it's gonna be fun.
Golem would be pretty neat. Neat now that I think about it.
Golem is very powerful. It's tanky, it's strong, it's mixture magic is a little bit special because it's AoE, it's costly, it costs 4 MP, but it has really nice elements to it. So Golem is fun to play with if you know what you're doing. I know that, again, one of our runners here, Reven, really likes to play with Golems.
I think one thing that this tournament provokes a little bit more than our tournaments is the runner's individual taste in monsters in terms of guessing them or thinking about them or actually playing with them. Because I think everyone has their personal favorite monster.
Yeah, it seems that I mistook. I make do with Golem. I think you like it. It looks quite nice when you play with it. Let's check the seeds for our runners, and where are those guesses? Golem, Lazy Frog, Dreamin, Barong,
Bowling pin.
Yeah.
If we've guessed Lazy Frog, we can guess the bowling pins. They are also monsters.
Okay.
Azure Dreams is a little bit like Flintstones-y in that logic.
That Horza's seed is wrong.
Yeah, it looks like he has caught that himself.
It seems so. Sand Knight says evil seed, cyclones. Why cyclones are evil? Can you tell us then why Cyclone as a starter monster would be evil? There's nothing wrong with cyclones, right?
Well, I think for one thing, there would be the pressure to maybe fuse it. You know, like, because if you can get it up there in a floor 12, cyclones are not especially strong, but they are really useful fusion fodder. They are fantastic fusion fodder.
I think what Sand Knight means is that Cyclone comes with a grave spell. And then all the cyclones that you meet early would be very happy to snipe you from afar with the strongest spell possible in the game.
That is true. That would be a difficult thing, and that's not immediately what came to my mind. And that just shows me that if I got in a cyclone speed, I would be in trouble. Because that's the sort of thing you have to think about, not just how you can use the monster you get, but how you can avoid disaster from the enemy monsters, which are now very different.
Waiting for Horza to get ready, and we should have we need to give another fruit to Horza to make sure to show that he's got
He's
two
the
now.
winner.
Yes. And Shawnee again goes with a guy starter. We have to make it happen. We have to ask programmer that Shawnee wants a guy starter.
There
How
must
to
be
do it?
something we can do about that. Programmer is a wizard who has done many things that we didn't think were possible and learned so much about the game from it that who knows? Maybe one could make fake monsters.
Exactly. I don't think that, like we mentioned in this game, even though we probably mention it in every single match, but all this is possible thanks to our amazing programmer. He made the de-randomizer. He added so many amazing features to it, like the ones that you can see right now, that we've got so many random elements to it. Even though mostly we cared about having this game de-randomized so that both players can play sort of the same seed. But randomizing the de-randomized stuff, it makes it even more fun.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with that. You can play an endurance mode where you can pick any 20 items you want, basically. And then those are all the items that you're ever gonna get. So survive as long as you can.
Yeah.
You can go play the strange and partially dummied out second tower that no one knew about until programmer to it.
And now we know it's a U-boat. So why U-boat is special, Lady Dema?
Well, I'm going to start off with the sort of less interesting thing, the more normal thing, which is that it has the ability to scout out a floor at a great MP cost, which means that is a choice they will have to make about whether or not to use that. But more importantly, it has D-Rock, which is a spell that only U-Boat has naturally. Oh, Acid Rainbow, and it looks like an evolved monster egg, so we might not see the U-Boat magic after all.
Oh yeah. So like Lady Dema mentioned, summoning magic is very unique to U-Boat, and it's very special. It has like certain properties where it's amazing because it can, for example, kill every monster in a room. But it can be also very slow because it's a water U-boat, and the summoning magic decides to attack every single monster separately. So we'll see the animation of a dragon snake or leviathan flying around the room to every single monster, taking it out, and it can take quite a while.
Yep, Kluter has hatched the egg. He knows it is a new, which is basically an evolved griffin, which is basically your regular monster. So your Cune, just a little bit different, and so that makes it maybe a bit disappointing. Disappointing compared to the excitement that is the U-boat, and they're probably going to use the U-boat to scout out floors from now on.
We could see, actually, Horza used summoning magic, and as you could see also, it took quite a while, even though it did take out both of the monsters.
Yep. So that was a fun moment in the sun for U-Boat. The sweetest dream that we have ever known.
Yeah, like Lady Dema mentioned, no love for U-Boat in this run, at least not as your go-to familiar. It's probably just gonna be used only for scouting the floors, checking out where is the elevator, and that's it. Because Grenier is arguably better monster that you want to have on your side.
It's less expensive and less slow.
Exactly, it's very similar to your starting Cuny, because it pretty much gives you the same magic. There is one thing from Grenier that is better, or Griffin, that is better than having a Cuny, and that's something that makes pickets super annoying, and with Grenier you can just ignore it completely.
Yep, they guard treasure. That is a thing Griffins do, according to legend. And so that is an ability the programmers of the game gave to Griffin and its evolution. Now, you can't lift it, which does change your options in terms of what you can do in certain situations where you really want your movement to be tight and controlled and perfect. And ow, that was just mean. This is a tiny little trap.
Ouch! Yeah, like having Grenier over Griffin is a little bit unfortunate because, like Lady Deme mentioned, you cannot lift it, and hence you cannot abuse AI1 strats to hit the monster twice before you even like get to it. But still, even without that, Grenier is quite solid starting monster.
Yeah, it is definitely usable and more reliable and doesn't have an animation that takes forever. But it is sad to see U-Boat immediately to the role of scout. And I know there's some very strong New Game Plus strats. And this tournament does, I think, have a slightly New Game Plus quality in that New Game Plus is a category runners invented for the sake of it. There's no actual New Game Plus in the game. But in New Game Plus, you start off with monsters that you hatch on stream. Any monsters you want, any 5 items you want, counting the monsters, and you just go up the tower with them. And we do see some good New Game Plus strats that involve having a U-Boat scout out floors, usually fused with a Cyclone, to preserve its MP for as much as possible.
Yeah, unfortunately, U-Boat doesn't have such an OP ability as Garuda or like properties of that ability that it would cost only half MP. Unfortunately, it costs, if I recall right, 16 MP. So it will drain that MP from U-Boat really fast. So what our runners probably will try to do the moment they will start using the U-Boat on higher floors to find an exit is also try to find plenty of items like herbs or seeds, because the thing is that when you give such an item to your monster, it recovers small amount of MP, usually like 3 MP, and that is enough to actually cast the spell, because the thing is that you don't need to have the full MP to cast it, you just need to have any MP.
Right, that is a very useful distinction. Also, that is not a good. That is a little bit of a tricky misplay from Kluter that could make that row really unpleasant really fast. And it looks like he'll get to the other side of this particular challenge without a whole lot of bother.
And think about it. If our runners decided to go with the U-Boat, it would be just like one mixture magic call and that room would be done for. I don't know why there's a love for U-Boat. Do we have in the chat somebody from the U-Boat Brotherhood? Where is Poulet? I will blame Sand Knight for it.
Yeah, let's blame Sand Knight for it.
Yes, chat, please blame Sand Knight. In the meantime, we can see that both our runners are steadily climbing the tower. There is no such a difference as in 2 previous runs where Kluter was going far ahead already starting from the beginning. Now they're both around the same floor.
I'm not sure if it's that Kluter without the pressure of without the pressure, I'm not for either of them, and with the more senior monster, I'm not sure which of it, whether Horza has sped up or Kluter slowed down a little bit. Could be both.
But we did see that Horza found an elevator earlier that was a little bit tricky location for the elevator because it was in a one entrance room, and he decided not to go for it immediately. He still wanted to check the floor fully to scout for items. So Horza is still playing his game.
Right. Right. We will see sort of how this plays out. There aren't. One thing I think will be interesting as we go forward and deeper into the seed is, when do you scout? They have the power to do it at any time, and I think at these floors you probably don't want to all that much because it's very manageable. You can hand explore it all. Do we explore it on the water floors, for example, because you know that these might be difficult for your Granute and you want to hurry through that? Do you save that for like Viper Tech?
Exactly. That's the thing. Like we mentioned, the scout ability, as good as it is, it costs a lot. So you have to have a strategy for when to use it, and you cannot just abuse it all the time. Like, for example, abduct.
Right. Sorry about that.
Oh, and we can see that Horza actually does take a lead now. So let's switch the audio to Horza. Horza is the first one to reach floor 6. And Kluter follows right behind.
Yeah, this is very neck. This could be a close one. Those movements from Horza were very nice for getting that bloom completely neutralized as a threat.
Horza understands completely how the aggroing and de-aggroing works in this game. So he knew that the monster was not aggroed on him because he left the room immediately and he just needed to move away, and Bloom had a chance. It wasn't like 100% chance, but there was a chance that it would just like move in the direction, a different direction, which it did. So now Horza should be okay.
Yep. That is the sort of thing that you can see from a really experienced runner who really knows the little small tweaks you can make to adjust how your game works, of which situation.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I was thinking that Horza is in a pickle, but Acid Rain always takes you out of the pickle, so that was a good idea. Because it was like, this was a very good showcase of something that we mentioned earlier, that like, water floors, right? In the earlier games, for example, when they had Arachne, water floors were nothing because they could have just easily fight everything. They didn't have disadvantage. But here they've got a fire monster. They have disadvantage. It's not so easy to fight water monsters anymore. And like Lady Deme mentioned earlier, Tower wants you to die in these floors.
Yep. They want this to be the end of your first run, and they didn't give you a guaranteed way out of the tower, where they want you to hit this wall. Revan mentions a soft lock that can occur in certain instances is when you use an acid rain ball. But that's usually if the room is a monster den and so super crowded, or a one-room floor and therefore super crowded. 2 or 3 monsters usually won't be a problem. I know that for randomizing, de-randomizing, there does have an option that we have checked to make the game a little stable and reduce soft locks that might be from just massive hang time, basically.
Yeah, Shoni always mentions it, that this game is perfectly programmed and there is no bugs in it. But apparently we do find sometimes situations which may not have been intended, when one of those situations is like getting huge amount of experience due to, for example, using an acid rain in a room full of monsters, and that may cause a soft lock. Programmer in his greatness fixed some of those bugs, but unfortunately we still sometimes see those problems. Luckily here for Horza, there was no soft lock and he can continue his climb.
Yeah, no real problems here with that. Oh, speaking of things that are perfectly programmed about this game that we don't get to see because it removed the use of the U-boat, and they probably wouldn't have ever lined this up anyway. U-boat's mixture magic, the D-Rock summoning mixture magic, does not, in practice, have a version for all three elements. It instead has a fire version, a water version, a different water version that unlocks when the monster is wind elemental. Because for reasons that are definitely an accident of programming, the wind element version of the summoning mixture magic does water elemental damage.
And that can easily confuse you, because you would be thinking, okay, yeah, I've got a wind element, so I'm safe against water monster, I can kill them. And suddenly you don't, and then you think okay, what's going on? So yeah, that's one of the things that people just have to learn when they try them out. If you don't know about it, it can hurt you.
Yep. It's maybe a tiny bit of a shame that it's not paired with a better defensive element.
In the meantime, we can see that Kluter actually did take a lead. He's now floor 9, while Horza is on floor 8. But Kluter is having a bad time with U-boats. Like previously with Arachne, he was able to handle them. Now it's not so fun because his fire monster is getting lots of damage. So he sees an elevator, he goes further. Doesn't want to stay on those floors.
Yep. U-boats are, secret troll hidden just off camera. That's why you check your mini-map on floors, because bow trolls can aggro at you from across the room, shoot you down.
I know, Lady Dema, that you love trolls because they can hit you from the corners. Seen it in the stream a few times.
I really hate trolls. They are my least favorite. No, trolls are just so obnoxious. And also, here is a fun fact of the sort that you learn either because someone else has suffered or because you have suffered. Bow trolls don't respond to things that would disrupt their attacking, I guess? Their attacks the way they normally might. They can shoot you around the corner of doors. They can shoot you when you're confused. They will not shoot you in a confused way. I'm willing to bet they can still shoot you while they're blind. Why? Just how they are.
One of the most annoying thing about the troll is something that we already discussed with the AI pathing of the monsters. So like I mentioned, they just want to get to you in a straight line. So bow trolls, when they see you in the straight line and they are aggroed on you, they will shoot you. They don't really care whether there is an obstacle in the way or not, an obstacle being, for example, another monster, because you have a monster train behind you. So one of the most annoying thing is that you've got a monster behind you and another monster being a troll with a bow, and he shoots you. And of course, logical thing would be, okay, because there is a monster in front of me, that monster will be hit. And that's true, but that attack has very high chance of missing. So we've seen it many times that the attack on that monster misses and then it hits you. So you think that oh, I'm safe, I'm blocked by another monster that will take the hit. No, you're not safe.
Also, sometimes what can happen happen with unfortunate circumstances such as this. Unfortunate circumstances with that hole in a crossbow bolt that is shot at you keeps going even if it misses. Sometimes you'll get lucky, you'll dodge, and then it'll hit the monster and kill it. That is another thing that can happen. Bow trolls are the worst.
That's the thing. With bow trolls, you have to take so many outcomes into your calculation. What can happen? There was one thing, very interesting thing happening earlier in the Horse's stream. We could see that he has used Pita fruit on the Grenier. Like we mentioned earlier, U-boat is an amazing monster. It has the way to scout the floor and give you the map of it, but it costs a lot. So you usually want to save some MP recovering items for the U-boat because you'll be using it so much. But we could see that Horza still prioritizes safe climb over this kind of, let's say, getting lucky and just going straight for the elevator. Because it seems that he recovers the MP of Grenier so that he can continue fighting.
Yeah, that is a reasonable decision.
Definitely.
While you certainly can prioritize the U-boat most of all for that scouting, that doesn't mean your pathway to the elevator will be clear even when you know what it is. It can prevent you from wandering around willy-nilly and taking more damage than you have to. But sometimes you run into krakens on the path and have to take a detour, and that's just life.
We could see now in Horza's stream that it was sort of dangerous situation. He still had it under control, but he could have died there. He was fighting a U-boat, and you could see how much it was hitting and for how little you were hitting it. And now we've got the same situation with the bow troll sniping from afar. But luckily, Horza was able to take care of it. He is now on floor 10. For a while, he won't see water monsters, so that should be safe climb. In the meantime, Kluter is actually trying to handle one of the most annoying water monsters, being a kraken that is aggroed on Kluter.
Oh, that could be bad. And it looks like Horza has been worked away. That could be a really dangerous situation for him. He does know to set the monster so that it isn't moving. He's close to it. He manages to reunite heat, and so that works out really well.
In the meantime, Kluter on floor 12 found the blue color. He's got his whole floor visible. I don't know whether it was the scout ability or whether it was the star glasses, but I guess it will just now save trip, or hopefully safe trip to the elevator.
Yeah, so then we will probably see the climb get a little bit... What am I thinking about that? Chickens don't care about eating eggs. Chickens will eat literally anything. Chickens will eat mice. They don't care. It's kind of horrifying. But hey, if it's what keeps you alive, it's what keeps you alive. Nature and Azure dreams have many things in common.
Now we've seen Kluter.
Nature generally doesn't have summer.
Now we've seen Kluter using the U-boat, showing him the whole room. But that was a very sort of dangerous room to use a U-boat at. I've had it once in the practice. When you've got columns in a room, U-boat sometimes will be more than happy to just dance around that column for 30-40 seconds before the game decides, you know what, this U-boat is for a little bit too long here, and then it will just
goes down to a Kraken. That is just unfortunate. Sometimes they are just nasty monsters. You can see he was right to spend a while dodging them because they are very hard to fight.
Yeah, like we mentioned earlier, Kraken is one of the most annoying water monsters and usually don't want to handle it at all. You just want to avoid it as much as possible. So let's see, Kluter died on floor 13. Horza has 3 floors to go.
Yep. Luckily, and I think that given his difficulty with the Krakens there and his desire to save that Olim team, that ended up not working out great for him there. Here, we probably see that he was kind of right to be using the U-boat on those floors. Or is it, if anything's giving you trouble on a floor, generally finding the elevator as fast as you can is very useful.
That's the thing, that starting from the floors where you can get Krakens, I'm not really sure, are there any safe floors to be at? So it has to be very conscious decision. Where do you start using U-boat so that you can run away as fast as possible? And the thing is that even if you know where the elevator is, there is no guarantee that you can get to it, which we have seen on the Kluter stream, right?
Right. Knowledge alone will not save you. He was, as according to chat, hoping to survive with low MP, but there's RNG on everything that matters. Generally, finding the elevator as fast as you can is very useful.
We can see Horza finding a blue color. I think, yeah, that's the point where you want to start or think about using the U-boat is when you get the blue color. Otherwise, it takes a little bit long time because you always have to hide your familiar, like in this case, Grenier, take out U-boat, scout, then again, take out Grenier while hiding U-boat. Now that you have 2 colors, you can sort of streamline the stream, right?
You have the audio of the stream playing right now?
Sorry, I will change it to Horza's. Yes.
No. I actually meant, and we were getting a feedback loop from somewhere.
Okay.
I think it's stopped now, so I guess it is fine. I'm not entirely sure where we were hearing. Oh, it was from Kluter. Okay.
Probably, yes, because we were using Kluter's audio, and yeah.
Actually, now that you mention it, we were also Kluter was watching the stream and it picked up.
And now Horza is on floor 13, so the last floor that he has to handle. Let's see whether he's able to. He's checking Blaze Ball. Will he use the U-boat, or will he just go for it?
Yep, it looks like he is also going to use the U-boat. He doesn't want to have to deal with Krakens, and he doesn't want to have to deal with this floor for terribly long.
Yeah. So, Lady Deme, what do you prefer to handle if you have to choose? Is it a Kraken or a Viper?
Oh, that's tough.
I think for Horza it's definitely easier to handle Vipers because he's the mayor of their town, right? So they have nothing on him.
Yeah, but it might be a very bloodthirsty election. But I think it sort of depends on a lot of things. Vipers have some manipulation tricks you could theoretically use. Right, like Steve says, use them eggs to fumble them.
Yep.
Vipers you can lift. They don't hurt you for hitting them, but if you've got a wand, neither will the Kraken. So the lifting thing, I think, probably makes the Vipers the better their option, but I find they do hit a little bit harder. But if I have a sword, then I would rather deal with a Viper any day because they're less obnoxious.
And that's a win for Horza.
GG. Oh, that was a double elevator floor. I saw an elevator on the spin-in and in the starting room. That's something you don't see every day.
I'll send our runners links to the audio channel so they will join us here for commentary.
So we can do a nice little interview about how that match went. It certainly could have gone better in terms of actual circumstances, but in terms of play, I think they mostly did very well.
Oh, they've done a perfect job. Hello, Horza. Hello, Kluter.
Let me turn off my game audio. Oh boy. Okay, there we go. Now I can hear things.
That's short room. You don't want to have to. Now you don't have to.
Yeah, Horza, you stopped at the right moment.
Oh, did I? Okay. But yeah, so I think things went pretty well, at least for me. I was really hoping to get a break in that +5 leather shield I had from the first season.
I just want to talk about round 2 for a minute. So I get onto floor 20, right? And Horza sends his freaking Viper army after me. How is that not interference?
Oh yeah,
Hey.
Look.
Look. The good mayor does what he needs to do. I don't have a sway on that. So my hands are off here. But I didn't get bullied by Vipers. So, you know.
I'm just saying we might want to call in a ref, you know.
I tried that, and all the rest said, I don't want the Viper Mafia to break my kneecaps.
Just want to get involved.
Oh yeah. How did you like your starting monsters? That's my first question.
I've already forgotten what the first one was.
That was the Manoeva.
Manoeva.
Oh yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of that one, but having access to that water blade spell was nice.
Manoevas are great to a point, other than you have to deal with them in the tower so frequently, so getting one as a familiar is kind of terrible because they just spam their heals.
Yeah, I think I managed to not fight a single one in that run.
But it's also the spell animation super slow, and I really hate the slow animation monsters.
I'm also really not a fan of Maneva suddenly deciding to heal me instead of using the attack that I wanted. It didn't do that to me this time.
Horza had to deal with that, and that's probably one of the most annoying things about having Manoeva as a starter, that it has the way to heal itself.
Yes. Same reason I don't like the mule, the horse.
Yeah.
But I would say that the third seed was probably my favorite.
But I mean, for the U-boat, why did you use it?
I was using the U-boat at least.
Yeah, you Horza used it once. Like I'm talking about the mixture magic, right?
Oh, because it's bad.
Well, Horza used it once, and it cleared the room for him.
Was it on like floor 3?
Floor 2.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Before hatching the egg.
Oh yeah.
I'm guessing it took a small moment to realize, oh wait, no name, that means it's an evolved monster, that means spell, I don't have to deal with this.
I didn't even hesitate.
Oh no, I was like, when I saw the U-boat, I was like, I'm hatching whatever else this is so I can use my U-boat bag trick once I get my second collar for the spamminess of it. That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for the second collar so I could pop it in and out quicker and get a little more use out of it.
Second U-boat egg?
I didn't see a second U-boat egg. No.
I so badly wanted to feed the U-boat to the other U-boat.
The better question is, Cluter, did you get the Garuda in the second seed?
I did, and then that's the one that I got killed by your frickin' Mafia.
Hey now. They're an organization.
Can't fool us, Mr. Mayor.
Well, Horza, there might be something to it. You didn't die to Vipers, so it's sus. I would say it's sus.
I died on the first floor with Vipers. They were waiting for me.
Yeah. And it wasn't a heart-warming welcome.
Just you wait till we get a seed with High Q someday.
It's just all IQ.
Then you'll all pay.
But yeah, this is the thing that we noticed between your two game styles, because Kluter sort of, I think, because I'm not sure I've seen it correctly, I think he died to the fact that he was so under-leveled because he was level 8 on floor 20, and those were the two different play styles. Horza was playing steadily, slowly, building up his levels, power, and everything. Well, not slowly, but like prioritizing safety over speed, which I personally really like this kind of playstyle. Kluter was going more like torpedo, going further and further. And if I remember correctly, you attacked a unicorn with a fire spell ball, and it didn't kill it, right?
That is correct.
That's what pretty much killed you, because then you had to take a hit, and you had like 20 HP, then a misstep with Viper, and thank you, goodbye, right?
Yep, I believe one level would have made the difference there.
It would have.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just unfortunate.
And we could see it like throughout the game 1 and 2 that there was a difference in the playstyles where Kluter was usually going faster, Horza was going safer, but in a game 3 you sort of evened out on that.
Well, I think because by that point the stakes were kind of off, so Horza didn't feel as... I'm going to take a guess here. I'm going to say, Horza, you didn't feel as much of a need to play it as cautious because you'd already secured the win.
No, I wouldn't say any of that. I'd say the big thing is that it was a life one with a fire monster. It just felt like doing just like a pretty standard, just like run of the game. Because granted, it's basically Kune. And like that's basically so I just played a normal seed. Like where the other ones, like I was using the magic and the slowdowns and the slowdowns. And there's so many heals. So many heals. Like this one, I can just like plug right along. That's basically the big one. Was it just felt pretty standard.
Yeah, it was. It ended up being a more vanilla than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And Chai was looking through the eggs.
Yeah,
looking for the starting monsters for any sign that our anti-Haikyuu measures didn't end up working.
I know.
Sorry, Kluter. I really do want you to get Haikyuu, but maybe in another tournament. I know you're so amazing.
It's fine. I'll do my own rando, and I'll get a Haikyuu there, and everything will be fine.
What is it? Only Haikyuu pads. Only Haikyuuns in the tower. Only Haikyuu.
That would be crazy easy.
It's a challenge, Horza, now. Unofficial match between you two guys where Haikyuuns are involved, or Haikits, whatever is preferred.
I mean, sure, if Horza likes losing.
Oh, shots have been fired. But in this match, Horza was on the winning side. Horza advances in a winning bracket. Of course, Kluter is not out of the game because we do have a losers bracket, so there we'll still see Kluter. With this match, go ahead.
It's just the winning strat, guys. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to get kicked down into the losers bracket with all the other players that are bad, and then I'm going to beat all of them.
That's a very valid strategy.
I just got the big brain here.
About that, Horza is going to with this match we concluded all the matches in the first round of this tournament. With next week we'll start the second round, and we're gonna have Horza play against Wuga. That's gonna be a very interesting match.
That'll be interesting to see.
Oh wait, I have to go against Wuga. Oh, good lord.
Yeah, right. That's scary.
All right, I'm gonna have to put Wuga in his place again. All right.
Big talk.
I somehow feel that Vipers will be involved.
I'm sure Wugga's in chat. I can't see it right now, but he hasn't won a tournament yet, so
Okay. And Kluter will be playing against Azure Yume. That's also gonna be very, very interesting. So
That was one of our rising stars, wasn't he?
yes, that's
Yeah.
correct. And I can tell you one thing. Out of all the matches in the whole tournament, Azure Yume got the fastest clear of the tower with, I think, 44 or 45 minutes with like a vanilla settings. But yeah, nobody was faster than him. He didn't end up
Nice.
winning the tournament, but he got the fastest time. So yeah.
Have fun with that.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah. So, any closing remarks from everybody?
I would like to call for a formal investigation into corruption in Vipertown.
We shall check into that.
The doors
thanks.
are always open to Viper Town.
We do hear in the chat Senai saying something about referees saying that it's all okay and everything, but who knows? Let's blame Senai. We
Yeah,
shouldn't
I'm gonna blame
trust him, right?
Sand Knight.
It's true.
Yeah. But maybe that's just a political scapegoat.
Maybe you should investigate him first and see if he's been bribed by someone.
You
Certainly
give
a
us
thought.
ideas.
All right. This has been a lot of fun. Great game to both of you.
Thank you for the great
Yeah.
show.
Indeed. GG Cluter, it was a good time.
Yep, I will see you at the end of the tournament, I hope.
In the finals bracket, right?
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna work my way through the losers bracket. It'll be fine. See you guys.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, SpeedGaming channel. Thanks to our chat. Thank you to our amazing Lady Deme for commentary. Thank you to our players. And
Thank
see
you,
you next
Shai.
time. Thank you.
All right. See you later.